Shaky Knees last weekend, one of the better Southeastern festivals of, you get the top tiers. You got the Bonnaroos, the Coachellas, the Lollapaloozas, the ACLs. And then that second tier, Boston Callings, Shaky Knees, Hangouts, maybe Hangouts in that top tier now, but Firefly. Shaky Knees always seems to come through with at least a lineup that feels so well crafted and right in the pocket of at least my type of musical style. Taco, how was it?
It was great. And yeah, you were asking me, like, is there anything like absolute can't miss on the Bonnaroo lineup? For me, on the Shaky Knees lineup, there was more bands that I absolutely had to see. And
Really? Like who?
The Mars Volta was my number one.
Look at you,
Yeah.
Mars Volta.
Mars
I had
Volta,
no
yeah.
idea you were a Mars Volta fan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got there. It's a little tougher because it is a city festival. There's no camping. There's no, getting in and out is a major kind of deal just because you've got to, get there and then you've got to leave because it shuts down, And I stayed at my aunt's, she lives about an hour north of Atlanta. So, every day was drive an hour, get on the train station.
Oh, I
ride
forgot
30
because you don't
minutes.
have the bus.
Yeah, I don't have the bus, so I have to take all this extra.
In years past, when you took the bus, you would stay in the bus.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got friends.
But where would you park it?
Well, last year we had a friend who lives pretty much downtown Atlanta, and he went to Shaky Knees too, but he just let me park the bus in his driveway, and then it was a quick Uber from his house downtown Atlanta down to Central Park. So we were in and out easy. It was pretty good. So, but this time, yeah, I'd have to take an hour car trip, ride the train for 30 minutes, get out, walk another 10 minutes or so. And so by the time I get there, I'm already, exhausted. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I get there Friday. And if you remember, there was a little mix up with the tickets, which, shout out to Joe. He got me straightened out very quickly. Mm-hmm. But, I missed that Killer Mike show, which I feel bad about. I really want to see. And
Now, Killer Mike was the last minute addition, right?
Yeah, Manchester Orchestra dropped out, and they got Killer Mike to fill in. And I could hear him singing. I could hear him performing as I'm sitting there at will call, waiting on to get the tickets sorted out. But that finally got sorted out. I got in.
So I'll tell you about Killer Mike. Did I talk about it on the show that I went to the album release thing with him? This is one of the great moments that I've had living here. He did an album release in a Brooklyn church that was, I don't know, a 200-year-old church. It was out of control beautiful. And he did it because it's his first solo album, and there was a whole bunch of industry people there or whatever, but he's introducing each song as it goes along. And it was just so strange sitting in this beautiful Catholic church hearing, I don't know, F in that. It was just like, it was so weird, but lovely. And but what he was trying to say is, like, every word on this album, Michael is the new album, is so specifically chosen for a reason. And it's a super personal album. It's a testament to his life and his struggles and all this kind of stuff. But the thing I loved about it is that the whole purpose of the album is to tell you, through all of the ups and downs of hip-hop, good news is coming. And he left the thing saying over and over and over, just go tell your people, good news is coming. Good news is coming. He is such an inspirational dude. I could listen to him do anything, read anything, prophesize anything. I just love Killer Mike so much.
Me too. Yeah,
and I hate that you missed that show.
I hate that I missed it. Yeah, and especially when he performs in Atlanta, like, because he's from Atlanta, like, he loves Atlanta. You can just tell it's just a whole new level of energy for him.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I did see Run the Jewels at Shaky Knees, and that was fun. So I wanted to see Killer Mike. Missed it. Caught a little bit of the Greta Van Fleet show as I was coming in, but I definitely
did not
miss. Like? I don't know. It was, everybody compares him to Led Zeppelin, which I get, I thought it was all right. I wish I could have, watched more of it, but I definitely saw the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Fantastic show.
How was that?
So good. So good.
I know.
So much
I
fun.
know. We saw them at a venue here in New York called Forest Hills, which is, to me, my favorite venue in the city. Oh, God, it felt so good. It felt so good to see her again. I don't think I haven't seen them since like 2006 or something like that. I love this new album. I'm absolutely out of control in love with the new album. So the one thing that I'm bummed about is them not being a Bonnaroo.
Yeah, that would be perfect to Bonnaroo. That was one of my not missed shows. I got to see them, so I was happy about that. The Killers closed it out Friday night. That was the Friday night headliner, and of course I had to leave a little early because I've got to walk and then ride the train and then drive. So I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, unfortunately. But then the next day, Saturday, come out and do it all again. I saw 311, which was fantastic, and then
yeah. I can't believe these guys are still around, and that Nick Hexum still looks like he's 25. He's just as dreamy now as he was then. It's so weird.
Yeah, and then of course Saturday the Mars Volta was my absolute cannot miss number one. Stayed for the whole thing. It was right up front. That show was criminally underattended. I felt like it just didn't seem like there was hardly anybody there.
It seemed a lot. I saw a lot of your snaps. It seemed like a bunch of shows seemed underattended.
Well, yeah. I think you
was
were
it a light crowd?
Yeah, no, it was a sold out show. It wasn't light at all. It was just where I was standing. Well, they didn't have a lot of people. I don't think they sold a lot of platinum tickets, which was the the platinum viewing area was right in front of where I was. So if from where I was looking, it didn't look like anybody hardly, but behind me and the whole crowd was filled up back behind, especially that Hozier show. Holy crap. There's a lot of people for that.
Hozier is a silent killer, man. He sells more tickets than you think. He sells more product than you think. He streams bigger than you think. Mm-hmm. He's just one of those guys that you just take for granted, and you don't know how big he really is until you see it.
His show Sunday was massive. Absolutely massive. Mm-hmm. Saturday after the Mars Volta.
Now, that's the place to find the moms, Taco. You find some Hozier moms.
Definitely, yeah. For sure. I started to go see Tenacious D Saturday and caught a little bit of that show, but I ran into a couple of podcast listeners, Sal and Josh from Texas.
Sal and Josh from Texas?
Yeah, they come to Bonnaroo from Texas every year. They were there at Shaky. They love the show. So got to hang out and talk with them. So that was cool. They said
Did you get their address? They can get something from Barry's Basement.
Yeah, what do they need?
We'll see. Yeah. They said they do a barbecue cookout every year at camp.
Wow.
So might have to find them.
Okay. Well, hang on a second. What day are they doing that? Yeah, no kidding. What day are they doing this?
Well, because they drive. They said they don't usually get in until Thursday, and so they're usually way out in pod 10 or 9 or whatever. So
yeah.
But but
are they doing this if they're doing this, if they're doing a barbecue berry on Sunday? How long has this meat been sitting in that cooler? How long can you really sit on that stuff? I ain't planning. Do that.
I don't
that better be I show up and then the barbecue starts because we've got some leftover chicken from Friday. Oh, okay, Sunday morning. This sounds great.
They better have that packed on some dry ice or something.
Yeah, heard. Well, good. Yeah. I'm glad you met some podcast listeners. It's weird to meet podcast listeners in the wild. I met that one listener out of nowhere at a bar in New Orleans as we just watched football, and he looked over and then we just hung out for the rest of the day and bounced around the city. It's weird to I guess it's weird to see us in the wild, and I guess it's weird to see podcast listeners in the wild all at the same time.
Well, especially because I was working my way up through the crowd to see Tenacious D, and then out of nowhere I just hear somebody yell Taco, and I turn around and they're just like, hey, we're big, we love the show, good to see you, and it's like,
well, that's great.
They just spotted me at just walking through the crowd.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
The weird thing about that is that you missed the Tenacious D show, and then the next day they announced they've got new music showing up, and Yeah, I bet you didn't hear any of that, huh?
I did not. Yeah. Got caught up talking to him.
Price of fame. Price of fame.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a tough life.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
That's right. Yeah. And then that Muse show is so good. I love Muse.
Yeah.
They did this thing where they dropped this curtain behind them, and there was like a giant head with like a hand that looks like it was coming out of the stage, and it would like rotate, and it was just their stage show and theatrics is unreal.
It is. I saw that show when it was at MSG here, and yes, you're right. The one knock that Barry had on Muse when they were at Bonnaroo is that it didn't matter if you were listening to them on. This is a testament to them, by the way. It didn't matter if you were listening to them on stage or if you hit play on your stereo, because
correct. Yeah.
It sounds so pitch perfect all the time,
it's the
and
most technically perfect show I've ever heard.
Yes.
Yeah. Which lends itself for people like Barry to be a tad boring.
Well, my comment was when it was over, I couldn't hum you a tune. I still couldn't. Still can't.
Well,
I'm not that big a fan.
Muse has got a lot of hits.
But and a lot of fans, too. I mean, I get it. It just wasn't. It was fun to see, and I'm glad I saw it. But
yeah, I think that was.
But to your point, to your point, Taco,
mm-hmm.
the point that I think is important is that their stage show has gotten bigger and a little bit more active and engaging than the one we saw at Bonnaroo.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'll never not see them.
Yeah, they're great.
And then so that takes us to Sunday, and I guess the big surprise for me was Future Islands. I had never really listened to them, but I was just wandering around.
All right, I would love to talk about Future Islands because, boy, I got a lot to say about this band.
Okay.
All right, so you had never seen them before.
Nope.
You know the hit. You know Seasons, right?
I don't know that I do.
Oh, okay. All right. So your first impression of Future Islands was?
Kind of reminded me of Editors a little bit. You know, he's got just really interesting like voice in this like very strange vocal range. Like it's not quite like deep, but it's not also like super high. He just operates in this weird area, and like then sometimes he'll get into this like guttural like growl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He growls. Yeah.
Yeah. I was into it. I don't know. I just dug it.
It is a batshit crazy show the first time you see it, Barry, right? Because it's so performative. He's beating on his chest.
Yeah.
He's punching himself. He's falling to the ground. He's flailing. At one point, he'll rip out his heart from his chest, then hold the heart while it's beating, and he'll look at it, and he'll turn away from it. Then he'll look at it again, and then he'll put it back in his chest, and then he'll fall down. Like, it's so strange to watch. And then, like, to Taco's point, he'll go from, like, sounding like regular dude into this growl thing, which is off-putting, but also totally engaging. The first time.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was my first time.
No, the first time you see the show, it's fantastic because it's just nothing like you've ever seen before. And especially if you like the songs, which I do, I love their albums. But then the second time and the third time and the fourth time you see it, I just look at this. I'm like, what the shit is he doing this for still? Enough already.
I have seen. I haven't seen it live.
Fair.
I've seen video. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, and I wasn't, I was just kind of walking around. I think I had just eaten or something, and I could just hear it off in the distance. And that was my first thought was, what in the world is this guy doing? I got to go see what this is. So,
yeah.
And I ended up staying for the whole show. So
it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it. And the other thing too, like he just gives every ounce of him. Yeah. Right? He is just soaking wet on stage. I don't care if it's in the middle of a winter blizzard. The dude is sweating like a maniac because he's working so hard on stage. I mean, he's really, really putting every ounce of him into it.
Yeah. He even said, I got to be careful. I tore my ACL. So I can't, but then like he would just start jumping around and like, running circles. And he like, damn, he's, you can see why he tore his ACL.
It's a great show. But I just love the band so much.
Yeah.
That I just kind of get taken out of it sometimes. After the fourth time you've seen it, I get a little bit. I just want to listen to you.
Sure.
I don't need all the goofiness.
That was, I guess, the big surprise for me was going, and then I went from that to Father John Misty, which was also good.
No, much different. Much
different,
different
yeah.
operation.
A little bit different vibe.
Yeah, but that is to me, like, I love Father John Misty when I like session him, but it's a different stage show. I don't like his stage show. I find to be so fun. So fun. The Bonnaroo one that he had that year felt like I was watching a different artist. He was engaged. He had people coming up on stage. He was throwing shit off of the stage. It was so almost Flaming Lips level fun. And then the just sessioning it, sitting around the house listening to, you're like, oh, this is cute. This is sweet. This is lovely. The live show is so much more fun.
That was so fun. There was people formed a conga line during the Father John Misty set, and they were just going all over the, it was just people were having a good time. And then, great. Of course, I went from that to Hozier, which was massive, huge, fantastic show. Mm-hmm. And then the Flaming Lips, which was actually my first time seeing Flaming Lips, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, those are three very, like, this is the thing about this Shaky Knees Barry, is it's so in the pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, those three artists fit like a glove.
Yeah. That's a good day.
Yeah. I love the show, and of course they did the entire Yoshimi album, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, from beginning to end, which was fun to watch. And, of course, he's got giant pink robots, inflatables up on stage. They're, shooting confetti into the crowd, balloons, it was, of course, you've seen it, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I love the Flaming Lips shows. Another surprise, it wasn't at Bonnaroo, but,
Yeah.
How many times can they go down that path? I really love that show. I really wish it was
he's in the big bubble,
Of course, he's in the bubble. Yeah.
Yep.
The birth.
All right.
The birth.
That's a great weekend. Good for you.
It was a great weekend. I enjoyed it. Yeah.